So ventilation is key in Florida to keep the attic cool. So we're gonna go over in this how to install a standard rolled shingle ridge vent. First step is to make sure that the ridge is cut at least a minimum of 1 3/4 inch. In this case, this attic was already cut, so we're good to go. So the next step is we're gonna go ahead and snap a chalk line in order to keep this ridge vent straight. So in this case, it's gonna be 7 1/4 for this particular ridge vent. So then we'll make that mark on the other side, and then we'll snap a chalk line to keep this straight. So the next step is we get the rolled ridge vent rolled out. There's a baffle on this side, so it's important to make sure that's in place. That's gonna stop insects or bugs from crawling inside. Once we get it out, we're gonna go ahead and nail it in the nail line. So the nail line is gonna be right along there, it says very clearly. It's important to use 1 3/4 inch roofing nails so that they'll embed through that, the ridge cap, and then also the wood. So then as we go, it's important to pull it tight so that we don't create any bubbles or ripples. Right here, that's going to be the nail strip for the ridge cap itself, for the ridge vent. Then this is going to be the nail strip for the ridge cap. So it's important when we nail this in, we utilize these spots. So now that we've gotten the ridge vent installed, now we're going to lay ridge caps on top of it, same shingle fashion as our normal hip and ridge cap. So with a ridge vent, same as installing regular ridge cap, we're going to start with a starter course. I have a bed of roofing cement laid in here first. This is going to come in, sit right there. Now right here, that is the nail strip for the actual shingles themselves. So whenever I'm nailing, I want to nail there, that's done so that I don't accidentally nail and hit my ridge vent nails. We'll add a couple nails in there. So when you're installing these rolled ridge vents, the trick is you don't want to let them get bunched up or air and insects can get up under there. So what you kind of do is you kind of want to pull it tight, keep this nice and rigid here. And then once you have it laying well, you take and we nail in this spot right here. This is going to be for our shingle nails. This right here is where our ridge vent nails go. So another important thing to know about ventilation in general is that we need to have more intake ventilation than outtake ventilation. So like on this home, we have soffit ventilation that runs around the perimeter, right? So that's going to be intake ventilation all around the perimeter. So then our ridge vent on the top, there's no way that that's going to outdo it. The problem if you get that ratio wrong, if you have more outtake than intake, then the home will not vent properly. So another important factor to consider in installing ventilation is the height between different levels of the ventilation itself. So for example, this house behind me, that ridge vent is about 1.5 foot lower than that ridge vent at the top. So that is okay. However, if we get to about 3 foot or more of that lower than the top of a height difference, then that will actually cause the ventilation to not work properly. So in that situation, we just install at the highest point. Otherwise, the lower ventilation will cancel the upper out and we will create a problem. Check your work. Ridge vent is straight and tight to the roof. Gable ends are sealed. Ridge caps are installed and fastened right. Vent system is balanced with proper intake. That's how it's done.